Welcome to a special edition of Inside Censhare. Today I sit down with Dieter Reichert, who's not just our CEO and co-founder, he's also a publishing industry veteran, having been a typesetter at a very early age to co-founding software companies. He's also a sought-after speaker at various industry events. Today I sit down and ask him, what's the future of publishing and what does he recommend that we do? So welcome Dieter, thank you for joining me on Inside Censhare. Nice to see you. So we're talking about the publishing industry. So how would you sum up the current state of the publishing industry?
If I look at the publishing industry, it's not one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Publishing differs from different areas, like you have people who are doing scientific publishing, you have newspapers, weekly papers, you have consumer magazines, you have special interest magazines. So this is a huge range.
Right.
Which you cover when you talk about publishing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you are talking about business models, because everybody is interested, what is the business model we have today?
Yeah.
And again, this differs from a scientific publisher to a consumer magazine completely.
Right.
But one thing I think, or a few things, are equal to all of publishing approaches.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is, how can I build a business model?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what is the value of what I'm offering to my consumers, to the readers, or to the participants? And so if we look from this perspective, then it's clear the new successful publishing businesses are connected to communities. They are connected to new digital tools like this one. They are connected to more and more marketing approaches. So businesses are moving away from advertising business more to community and marketing business.
Right.
Sometimes even long tail business.
Right.
So where you receive for building a connect maybe 50 euro cent and not 20,000 euro for an advertising.
Right.
So in general, what you sell is more like a campaign. So the business models are much better described in a campaign.
Right.
And the campaign can include different things. Of course, there is also an article.
Yeah.
But there is no more one single article. An article is already a campaign in a business a business model, which means you have maybe a Twitter feed, you have maybe something on Facebook, you have something on your print magazine, you have something on a website, you have it on an app, and hopefully you have a community which is participating in what you are writing about. And the business model, when it comes to readers, it's pretty clear they will not pay very much for what they get from you. So you have to get more and more money from your advertising community. But it's not the same advertising community which gives you millions just for making empty pages colorful. That's not the case anymore. They understand what content marketing means. They want to understand how you can help them to fulfill their KPIs. So what is the value you could bring to them? And it's a digital value. It's not a circulation value. And so when you have to learn something as a publisher, then you have to understand how the digital business works. And this is pretty much KPI driven. It's about relevance. It's about communities. Because the communities are your participants, your readers. They love what you are doing, but people want to participate. It also connects to user-generated content. So there are many aspects which are very important to build a new, interesting, relevant publishing business.
Well, you answered
that was a lot.
Yeah, you answered a lot of my questions there. So the top trends you see in publishing going forward would be building communities.
Yes.
And creating this different business model which is more engaged with who's reading the article, and the fact that an article within a magazine is no longer the currency of publishing anymore. It's more than that. Yes,
it's a campaign basically. So I think companies have to understand, or publishers have to understand, that there is a reason why normal companies, if they want to sell products, they do campaigns.
Yeah.
And the campaign includes a lot of different areas. And for example, special interest publishers, they already understand a lot of what I'm talking about. They run events since many years. They know their customers. If you look at consumer magazines, they only see that the value is decreasing, but normally they do not know who their customers are. If you build a community, you know who they are, you understand the behavior, and this is where you can connect and also work with your former advertising companies and gain more value by running these campaigns.
So you talked about specialist interest magazines, and I think that was interesting because clearly they're normally very well connected to their audience, right? They're written by passionate people for passionate people. Is that what you're saying, is that authors of every kind of publication now need to get much closer to their community in that way?
Yes, I think so. They have to get closer to their community. And of course, if you write the top story for Times, you have to be a good writer. But, sorry to say this, 70% of the writers are not the writers who write the top story for the Time magazine. So this is also what people have to understand. You work in a normal business, you are not the best in the world, but your business has changed a lot, you are responsible for what you are doing, and this includes running campaigns in different areas.
So who do you see are going to be the winners and losers in this sort of new vision publishing right now has got a fairly poor reputation as being not an industry that's thriving. So who do you think the winners and losers are going to be? Are we still going to engage with publishers the same way as we do right now?
I mean, the winners will be the companies who have an entrepreneur. You need to have an entrepreneur in a company who runs a vision and who understands what he is doing. He must be brave enough to really change his organization. And of course, it's much easier to start a new company. And so there are new companies also, especially in the US, for example, companies who produce only videos. Which is also, by the way, one very important aspect. It's not about writing a 20-pager. I mean, maybe when you have a scientific magazine. But even when you look at a scientific magazine, you know, they work now with animations. They use tech really to teach much better than they have done this 20 years ago. But anyway, so video is a very important aspect because people just want to, you know, they want to see something and get an emotion, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, that's it. And publishers in the US have shown that you can grow business just on video, for example. The other thing is using different tools, so you can build your news business completely, for example, on Messenger. Why do you need a paper? You just need a good tool where you reach your audience. And for sure, this is not a newspaper in this size. You know, the times where people were sitting somewhere in a bus like this is over. So they are all sitting like this. So I have to work on this tool. So digitalization in publishing is very important. And of course, if you do this, how do you get money out of your news? And it must be connected to lead generation, it must be connected to marketing campaigns, it must be connected to KPIs, and that means you have to have a technology in place where you are able to understand what is happening here. What is Ian doing? What do I have to send to Ian now? What is the message? What is he reacting on, and so on. And this needs technology, it needs AI. I need to understand the messages, the pictures, but I need to understand the people, and I have to give feedback to what they are doing.
So we've gone to the technology, and that, when you describe it that way, it sounds like marketing automation technology. You're consuming the data about the audience, and then you're changing what you're doing based on that data. Is that what you're suggesting authors and publishers need to do?
You know, when we started our company, I always told retail companies, you can learn from publishers. Now I would say it's exactly the opposite. So many publishing companies can learn from retail companies because they have managed a huge amount of pressure during the last years. They have found new ways of direct marketing, communicating directly with their customers, offering them crazy stuff, interesting stuff, so that they participate in their community. And one other topic is definitely user-generated content. Of course, you should not have every news somebody is talking about, but you can curate content. So you can make something out of it. But get your community to participate. If you have a magazine, for example, about gardening, why do you need an external photographer? Ask your community to make pictures. Vote for them. So you get the best pictures, and the best pictures you can even have in your magazine. I mean, there are so many ways where you can build business just on the community and on user-generated content. So take your audience serious and don't think it must be always the journalists who can offer something valuable.
Well, that's really interesting. Thank you, Dieter. So the primary trends are community, multimedia, I heard in there, and also the technology to put all this stuff together.
And one-to-one communication, more and more real-time. And of course, at the end of the day, you have to have a great story. So don't underestimate the power of a great story. But the story could be just a 1-minute video. But you have to have a great story. If you have just Me Too content, it will not work with nothing.
Well, that appeals to me as a content marketer. Great story is always what we talk about. So thank you very much, Dieter, and thank you for joining us on a special edition of Inside Censhare.